and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all wonderful. Looking forward to the weekend. Friday, nice. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm currently reading, and I'm currently reading 3 books, which really, like, at some points this month I've been reading 6 books, so 3 books is pretty good. I will start with a book that I'm not really going to talk about, but I am listening to the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I have been working my way through the audiobooks with these editions and sort of like listening to a little bit and then reading a bit, and this is obviously the last one. I think once I've done this I might do the very same sort of situation, the old reading and listening to, with bit of fluff, his Dark Materials, starting with The Belle Sauvage, because that's a sort of like prelude to the 3, and then I believe the new I've forgotten what it's called, the new book by Philip Pullman, it's something Commonwealth or Commonwealth of something, that's out in October, and that is 20 years after the ending of the Amber Spyglass, so I think I might do that next. Anyway, but that's not currently reading, that's currently planning on what I'm going to read next. But yeah, so I've been enjoying reading and listening to Harry Potter and working my way through that. The other audiobook that I'm listening to is Wundersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow. This is the 2nd book in Jessica Townsend's series. I've got a feeling Mercedes and I, when we were chatting about it, I think there's going to be 9 books. It's a series that follows Morrigan Crow. The first book talks about her. You follow her becoming, you learn that she's a cursed child and she's cursed to die on her 13th birthday, but she's rescued by a chap called Jupiter North and whisked away to Nevermore, and is told that she can compete to be part of this wondrous society, and she has to take place in lots of different challenges. So that's the first book. The second book, spoiler alert, she gets into the wondrous society. The second book follows her joining the school and learning what lessons she's going to be taking, and also learning a little bit more about what it is to be a Wundersmith and her sort of backstory and the backstory of the previous Wundersmith who went a bit bad. Now, I read this book at the end of last year. I think it came out in October. Lots of books coming out in October, and I read it physically the first time round, and whilst I enjoyed it, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first one. And also there's a lot of sort of points in both the books, and I noticed it more in the second book, like not so much references to Harry Potter, but sort of nods to, you can tell that the author fucking loved Harry Potter. I mean, who wouldn't? But there's a few bits in there that are a bit like, could that have been maybe a little bit further away from Harry Potter? But I've got to say, the second time of reading it, and I'm listening to the audiobook, I'm really enjoying it, probably more than I did when I first read it. The person who does the narration, I haven't got my phone, yes I have got my phone, she is absolutely fantastic. The name of the person is Gemma Whelan, and she just does the voices so good. There's all sorts of different creatures and accents and everything that needs doing, and she just does a fantastic job. And yeah, I've got to say, I'm enjoying it more as an audiobook. So yeah, very much enjoyed that, and it's such a fun listen. She's amazing, and I really would recommend the audiobook to people. Even if you've read it the first time round, I feel like a revisit from an audiobook perspective is just wonderful. It's almost like a radio play. Like, the voices she does are so different, and she just brings so much to the story. I mean, it's an amazing story anyway, but she just brings so much more to the story. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying it more, which is wonderful news. And then the last book I'm reading is the book that I'm reading for my Patreon book club at the moment, and that is Vox by Christina Dulce. Now, I've been reading it this morning. I'm on page 56. I filmed a video for my Patreons earlier on this month where I was just talking about my initial thoughts, and I only got to page like 20 of my initial thoughts. And my initial thoughts then were like, yeah, I think it's okay. I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy it. And I've got to say, I'm bloody invested. I'm really enjoying this. Weirdly, this is also the book that we're reading for my book club at work. And when it came out of the pot, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't like sci-fi. I don't like things set in the future. And a lot of those people have now come to me and said, do you know what, I'm really loving this, and I'm really enjoying it. So you're following a world, a future America, where women are only allowed to speak 100 words a day, and they've got a bracelet on their wrists, and if they exceed 100 words a day, they get a shock through their body. And you're following Jean and her family. She's got a family, her husband Patrick. I think she's got one older son and then twin boys, and then she's got a younger daughter called Sonia, who also has this bracelet fitted. And you're following her family and the fact that men and boys can talk as much as they want, and Sonia and Jean are unable to do so. Sonia wakes up and has awful nightmares and is screaming, saying, oh, get away from me, get away from me. And Jean is rushing to her room in the middle of the night trying to cover her mouth up because she knows that if she exceeds 100 words, she's going to get that shock through her body. And then around page 50, and I don't really know where I thought this was going, but around page 50, and I'm going to say what happens because although it's early doors in the book, her husband, who works for the government, comes to her home because she previously lost her job. He didn't really know what her job was, but he comes home with people who work for the president and say that they need her help. It turns out that she was a superstar doctor before all this happened, and she's given it up and now stays at home and makes dinner and tidies up and things like that. And they've asked her to come and work for them again. And as a result of that, she's had her bracelet removed. So I'm very, very, very excited to see where this goes. I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot of people, when I hauled this before, because this came out in August 2018, when I hauled this, a lot of people said, oh, I couldn't work out. Someone said to me, I think it was Emma from Drinking by My Shelf, she said I couldn't work out whether I really, really hated it or really, really loved it, which is a good sign of a book, I think, because like when you get strong emotions from a book, whether that be really, I really remember the books that I hated, and I also really remember the books that I loved, so I think that's a good reaction to have from this. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. I really like the way Jean is talking about her sons, and she's talking about moments in their lives where she said, and that's when I started to hate my husband. And for all intents and purposes so far, it looks as though her husband is sympathetic to her and things like that, and you know there's more stuff to call and to come and to learn about things like that. Her son Stephen, who I think is the older son, has been learning things in a module at school, and he comes back and says things like, this is before like the 100-word curfew came in, and says things like, oh, there's more important things you could be doing at home, Mum, why don't you take up gardening or crafts and stuff? And she says, well, what, do you think that's more important than what I actually do? And at the time you don't realise that she was this amazing doctor, and then we find out that that's what he was harking, saying that she should give up her work as a doctor because there's men to do jobs like that, and start crafting or start doing gardening. And yeah, I'm really into this so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So yeah, so I'm going to go and sit down and read a little bit more of this because I've just been enjoying it so much. So those are the books that I'm currently reading. 3 books on the go at the moment. I'm about to film a try a chapter tag, which I haven't done for a really long time, like I actually think years, and I just thought I've got the afternoon to film, so I think I'm going to go and film a try chapter tag, so I'll be adding another book onto the pile. What are you guys reading at the moment? Have you read any of these books that I've mentioned? Vox, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, or Nevermore? It's not Nevermore, it's Wundersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow. We'll be interested on your thoughts on those, and I will see you all again soon. Very short video today, I've just realised we're only at 7 minutes, and I will see you all again soon for another booktube video. Goodbye!